Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Multivac. I do want to say that I'm not a financial advisor. You should do your own research before investing money into crypto. Now, as always, there are donation links to support the Ukrainian military and to support the Ukrainian refugees. The links are official. They are not a scam. I've triple checked all the links. So yeah, feel free to check the links out yourself. Thank you all for supporting Ukraine. And let's get straight into the charts. Now, jumping into the daily chart, so you can see that we do have a pattern here. So this triangle is called a falling wedge because obviously the wedge is faced towards the downside, and you're getting tighter and tighter over here, closing in on the apex, as you can see. And once you get too close to the apex, usually when you get closer to the apex, you see these huge breakouts, right? And the first target out of the breakout I would have as the 786 Fibonacci retracement at 0.008218. And that is simply a resistance level based on the Fib retracement. Now, if we want to target the actual target from this falling wedge, then the target would be 1 cent, basically. 1 cent is the target. If you get in right now, potentially, that is a 108% trade for anyone who wants to get in. So obviously, you can see we have one touch of support here, second touch, third touch. We have a couple of touches of resistance. So this is a valid falling wedge. As you can see, we do have smaller triangle patterns here. So we did have an ascending triangle here with a beautiful breakout, and we also did have an ascending triangle here, but we did break to the downside. And then we have the 20 EMA, which is the yellow line over here, and we have the red line, which is the 55 EMA. And as you can see, we are in a bearish cross. We did have an EMA squeeze here at the end of February, and we're getting further and further away from the 55 EMA. So this means that once the gap is large in between the EMAs, we usually see some sort of a relief rally, some sort of a back test of resistance. So even if you want to get in for a quick little trade, getting in and selling at the 20 EMA is a nice 19% trade. So you can potentially look for that. Now, below us, we do have this large yellow rectangle. Now, this is a buy zone that I want you guys to pay attention to. So we're going to jump into the weekly chart. It is, I did put this on the weekly chart, but right now we're on the daily. So we do have this buy zone, which is basically where we were reaccumulating after this large pump over here. So anywhere from 0.0043 all the way down to 0.00327 is your buy zone for MTV. Now, I know a lot of people are getting disappointed with the project and it's not performing as well. Well, you know, you can't really be doing, this. You can't really be doing this if you're not going to have at least some sort of a reaccumulation phase, you know. And right now you're in a bullish reversal pattern, so things are looking very good. But you need to understand that if you want to see more moves like this, right, you need to have these parts of your chart as well, because once you break out from here, you're going to move even further up and you're potentially looking at the 1.272 and so on and so forth. But yeah, look for these two support levels in case we do drop even further down. Those should hold, and plus we do have the golden ratio here at 0.00433132, which is basically this level over here. So the golden ratio is a level that we haven't back tested as support after we broke out over here. So this would be your back test of support, and from there you can move on to your next resistance levels. So golden ratio is here, a nice reaccumulation phase is here. You have the reaccumulation phase over here. You have your support levels, so keep that in mind. If you go a bit lower, right, that is possible, obviously. If you go a bit lower, you can look for 0.00027448. So spread out your buy limit orders if you're looking to get into MTV at these prices. But as you can see, we still do have some time in this falling wedge. We can potentially break down from it Obviously, that can happen if we have any bearish news, any FUD, but I would expect us to break out of this pattern with authority once we get even closer to the apex. Now, let's jump into the daily RSI and see what is going on over here. So we do have multiple resistance trend lines right now. So this green trend line below us, which is a support trend line, we just had a bounce from it April 8th. And I did have this trend line set up way back before March 15th, before March 20th, I want to say. And as you can see, perfect bounce over here. If you had this laid out on your chart, you could have seen this coming. You could have known that there was a support level here and the RSI was potentially going to bounce. And that's exactly what happened. Next up, we have this resistance pink trend line, which we have tested once, 2 times, broke through once, and now we fell back below it. So this will be a strong resistance that we need to break. And once you break those horizontals, as you know, you tend to break with authority and have, big impulsive moves to the upside. Above us, we have another white horizontal resistance. As you can see, we have 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touches off this trend line. So once again, once you see a break, you are potentially going to have a very, very strong move to the upside. Now, above us, we have this resistance level here sitting at 67.76 on the index. So this is a resistance level that we have touched multiple times, as you can see. So this is just something to keep an eye on. The most recent touch was on February 14th. So potentially, once we start breaking out of these horizontal resistances, and that may co-align with us breaking out of the falling wedge, you may run into this as resistance. From there, see a pullback. That's when you buy back in if you're looking for a cheeky little swing trade, which I am going to be looking for myself. Now, that is it for the daily chart, really. If I zoom out and show you some of the long-term targets that we have over here. So we have the 1.618 at 20 cents. We have the 1.414 at 9 cents. And we have the 1.272 at 0.052 cents. So these are important levels that you need to look out for. And yeah, that is it for the daily chart. I quickly want to jump into the weekly now. Okay, now jumping into the weekly chart. So we are printing a bearish cross over here, as you can see on the weekly chart. And as you know, the higher the time frame, the more significant all the crosses and all the patterns are. So a bearish cross here is very negative in my opinion, because as you can see, once you have a bullish cross, you tend to see these strong moves to the upside. But once you get a bearish cross, that is potentially meaning that you are going to be going into a continuous downtrend, potentially a bear market. But what I do want to point out is that we need to look for a bearish cross on Bitcoin. If that were to happen, then I would be worried for all other altcoins. But since this is a low cap altcoin, it can recover very quickly, in my opinion. Not in my opinion, it can recover very quickly. So I wouldn't be worried too much about it. And if you're a believer in the project, then obviously getting these tokens at lower prices is only better for you if you have a long-term vision. So you have all the support levels that I did give you. Potentially you're going to run into the 20 EMA here at as resistance, which is sitting at 0.00860076. So that is a potential resistance. We may have a back test of resistance and continue to go even lower. If you jump into the weekly RSI, you can see that you're just consolidating here, really doing nothing. So I do think MTV has a bright future, and I do think we need patience, right? Because nothing is going to moon forever, right? You can see back in March of last year when I found out about this project. This was actually before I uploaded. So when I uploaded my first video on MTV, I think we were somewhere, I don't want to say, yeah, we were somewhere around these prices over here, and we saw that huge move to the upside. We saw a pullback to the 55 EMA, another move to the upside. So right now, essentially what we're doing is we're printing a higher low, which is a continuation of the uptrend. So you have a high, you have a higher high, you have this low over here, and you have a higher low. So let's see what happens. Obviously have your buy limit orders ready and set to go in case we have a flash crash. But that is pretty much it. Feel free to follow me on Patreon, guys. It's a great way to support me, a great way for you to get more exclusive TA, more video requests, project reviews, low cap gems. We have around about 20 low cap gem posts on Patreon. So if you join in, you get all the posts to you opened immediately. And we do have, TA requests, video requests, all that type of stuff is on Patreon. And it's a great way to support me, obviously. So yeah, and don't forget about the donation links down below in the description as well. I'm gonna catch you in the next one. Goodbye and good night.